Hey YouTube, what's going on? It seems that I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but maybe the worst is behind us. I was surprised at the quick 180, but it already seems like Elon and Trump aren't trying to get into any blood feud, as they call it. They're trying to tone it down, quiet down the rhetoric that they're enemies and the relationship is over. He spoke actually very kindly of Elon, and Elon, of course, deleted all his tweets, even though people snapshotted everything. And not only that, but you have the LA riots diverting a lot of people's attention. And it sucks for the law enforcement out there that's in harm's way and just normal people that are just trying to live their lives. And you got all these idiots causing violence and mayhem, looting and just destruction. They blew up a bunch of Waymos. One of my coworkers at work, he was doing some research, and apparently on Craigslist and other classifieds, they're paying up to like $6 or $7 grand for any freaking Yahoo to go out to California and cause mayhem. And it says like explicitly, like you must agitate and do some sort of activity to get your payout. And a lot of people out there, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? But there is this, I work in a field where I can 110% tell you that there's a such thing as paid protesters. And especially in this town, DC, they go for cheap. They get paid maybe $50, maybe up to $100 a day. They show up, they hold a sign, they memorize a chant, and they have a script to say the key phrases, but they don't know, before that day, they didn't know what the hell they were showing up for. They don't give a crap about the cause they are so-called supporting, and they're just there to collect a paycheck. And then in DC, it's stupid because you get a slap on the wrist, you don't even get a fine, you just get like a warning. And then that is covered by the people funding it in the background anyway. So they have little to lose. So you got all these, what it seems like on the surface, huge protests. It's all, again, all a facade, all another scheme by the global elites to divide us. And, I've said it before, how do the powerful few take control of the many? They divide and conquer. And that's what they're doing all the time and time again. So LA is just another example of that. I'm not saying every single person is a paid vigilante protester, but they're sprinkled throughout those riots and those crowds. If you have a person that's incentivized and emboldened to cause mayhem because he's going to get a big payday, that causes a chain reaction. So if some guy throws a rock at a police car, then 10, 20 guys around him that may not be on the payroll, they look at that and be like, oh yeah, that was badass, let me try that too. And then it snowballs from there. And it just sucks. I saw like a baby get tear gassed, and some cops are getting pepper sprayed, and rocks are getting thrown at their heads. And National Guard, they're just weekend warriors. They didn't sign up for that shit. They just wanted student loan repayments or something. So they're probably regretting their life choices right now. And I don't know for sure what the agenda is. California is at the center of a lot of controversy. You have Gavin Newsom and Trump throwing barbs at each other. But I do know, again, like what is real and what is not real. So what is real is that everyone's talking about it. It's already taken the spotlight from the Elon Trump drama because, again, everyone at work is done talking about Elon already. And lo and behold, people are talking about LA riots. It's just like the magician. What do magicians do? They misdirect. So they're like, look here while we do something over there. Look here while we do something over there. And just believe you me, this is what they do. People say it's conspiracy theory or tinfoil hat. It's just more delicate, more subtle, more steps, more shenanigans that the global elites like to do. And with phones and, oh God, with the advent of AI, I truly worry what type of tricks they're gonna play on us moving forward when you can't distinguish between real video and AI video and deep fakes and all that stuff. We're truly gonna live in some kind of matrix. I always refer to they and the global elites, and some of you, people who have viewed, they might have immediately turned it off, like he's one of those guys. Some of you are confused when I refer to that. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm gonna always refer to the global elites. And what are the global elites? It's just a powerful, ultra wealthy group of people that for whatever reason, they were put into a position or were chosen, whatever you want to say, but they're in the club and they use their power and influence to control us. And that's when everyone shuts off my video. I get it. It's disconcerting, it's upsetting to know that we're not in charge of our own destiny. We're not directly in control of our lives and our fate. And don't get me wrong, we are in control of our lives. But they put their thumb on the scale. They make it very hard to break out of, they call it the matrix or something. If you're still plugged in the matrix, I don't know what it's gonna take for you guys to wake up. But over the past few years, all these crazy events and propaganda and narratives they push on us, in some way or another, one of these things affected you, and you were like, whatever issue it was, you knew it was bullshit, and then you're like, wait a minute, I know this is bullshit. Why are they saying this when it's not this way? And then you do your research, and then you get a little confused that you feel like you yourself are going crazy because you believe something to be so true, but everyone else is telling you otherwise. But this is the name of the game. It's truly mind-boggling how little we know about the world. And I'll give a non-controversial one, at least now, because it happened a while ago. Do you guys remember Operation Iraqi Freedom? You know, that whole narrative of, what did George Bush Jr. say? We need to get in there because there's weapons of mass destruction. America, fuck yeah, you know? But fast forward today, you ask any soldier, infantry, or military that was over there, and they were like, that was all fucking bullshit. All I did was traumatize some women and children and bust into people's homes, and I didn't do anything. It was not for American democracy, it was bullshit. And they all have PTSD, and they're all trying to forget the horrors they saw over there. And we wonder why people in Iraq fucking hate our guts. Is the country better off since we went in there and fucked shit up? No, it is not. I'll tell you right now, no, it is not. Either through people I've talked to that were over there, that I'll give you one example. He was the team leader, E6 squad sergeant, and team lead on a escort. It was just a truck escort. And he happened to peek under the pallet, like under the tarp. It was just pallets of cash, taller than like 2 men. And they weren't allowed to ask about what the hell this cash is, where it's going, where it came from. They're like, you get it from point A to point B and shut the fuck up. Okay, so things like that is like, you realize it's all fucking money laundering scheme for the neocons. Neocon is short for the warmongers that always want some kind of global conflict so they can profit off of defense stocks like a Boeing or a Lockheed Martin. They send their contracts to some dude where they charge like $1,000 for a fucking chair, and the list goes on and on. A Band-Aid will go for $50 and they sell like hundreds of millions of dollars. Everyone gets contracts. If you know someone, your buddy has connections, you get a contract, you make bank. And someone always suffers for this. And it's under the guise of a global conflict. And unfortunately, a lot of countries around the world, they're exploited, and just their country is put in worse shape at our benefit. And I'm sorry to say, if you think otherwise and you're like, this guy hates America, fuck you. I'll tell you right now, you're naive. This world is very gray. We're not the white knight that America always plays it out to be. And it makes sense, because if George Bush put on a press conference back then and say, we're gonna go to Iraq and we're just gonna kill a lot of innocent people, make the country worse, because we need to just make a lot of money off of this war. You think the American people are gonna support that shit? No, they have to send out a narrative or propaganda to get their citizens to support something. I'll send you a more extreme example so I don't lose you guys. Like, let's look at more recent ones, like Russia and Ukraine. If you ask the Russians, what does Putin say to his citizens? We're defeating the Nazis. And people like me and people are like, what the hell is he talking about? But to the Russians and the Putin supporters, that is the truth. That's how they support the war effort. And then you ask the direct opposite, Ukraine, they're fighting for democracy. That's what the US likes to tell us, that they're fighting for democracy, even though it's just another proxy war. And the Ukraine is way worse off. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers have died. I don't give a shit what the hell you say, but Ukraine is not better off than a few years ago. Yes, you can blame Putin. Yes, I understand. He's the asshole who went in there. But the US and NATO are the ones that stoked the fires and wanted this conflict to happen. Yes, they did. And you got so many examples. Just look it up. Get out of your little bubble and echo chamber and look up how many millions and hundreds of $1,000,000. Who is benefiting? You always look at, in any controversial topic, who benefited, and then you work your way back. But that's an example. You got the same exact scenario conflict, but two sides, and they're hearing total different narratives from whoever's in charge of their information. I'll give an even more extreme example. Like, look at North Korea. I'm Korean, right? It's a very touchy subject for me. I feel for these people. It's one of the biggest human rights crises in the world, and no one gives a shit because it's China's plaything, North Korea, and they use North Korea as kind of like, they use it as an example to control its own citizens. It's like any Chinese person that speaks out against Xi Jinping or the current government, they're like, hey, you have it pretty good. You want to be like North Korea? You want to end up in a prison camp? Then shut the hell up. North Korea is just a toy. It's just manipulated by China. But North Korea itself, look at the citizens. They say, I know there's a lot of North Koreans that are just living in fear and they just pretend to be brainwashed, but there's a whole big portion of the population that truly believes all the propaganda bullshit that they play on the loudspeakers. And you guys ever watch the interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco? They like to put on this, in Pyongyang, there's like a fat kid they just strategically placed there, and there's women that direct traffic that doesn't exist, and they have all these empty buildings. But besides that, they tell their citizens America is the enemy. Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il, his father, and Kim Sung-il, they're sent from heaven and they're God's chosen. And there's tons of people that believe that shit. Okay? Do you follow me? They brainwash their citizens with propaganda and narrative. And if you say this shit over and over, they start believing. Now let's rewind. Let's go back to America. You guys get it? America is no different. They're just so much better at making it subtle, not making it too obvious, making it feel like we're in control of our destinies, making it feel like it's a true democracy and our vote counts and we can cause real change. And in some like local governments that is true, but on the grand scheme of things, no, our vote doesn't matter. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they're gonna put that narrative on us, hit us at every angle and hit all our senses to make us believe something. Because of what? Again, they're super wealthy, they own you, they own the media, they own the companies, so they're gonna tell the media heads, those dickheads on the news, what to say, how to act. And then people will still take it as gospel. Oh, I heard on the news that so-and-so, so it must be true. You guys get it? And it's no secret, but people don't give a shit. Like, let's say, COVID's a touchy subject, but what did they do in COVID? They censored the shit out of anyone. They shadow banned and they censored during that. And if you spoke against any protocols, boom, you're out of there. You lost your job and whatever. And there's current lawsuits that people are winning, the ones that got wrongfully terminated. But do you guys see what I'm talking about? This goes back to a very famous George Carlin skit that was way ahead of its time, and I referenced it a few times. But I'll post a link in the description. Give it a watch. And I don't do it justice, but he just starts off by saying, they don't give a shit about us. The owners of this country, they own you, they have us by the balls, and no one seems to care that our life keeps getting worse slowly over time. No one seems to notice, no one seems to care, because we're too busy arguing at each other. Woke this, and MAGA that, and and Elon's a scumbag and whatever it is. And the truth is, I hate to say it, but Elon, he is part of the club. Part of the club. I'm not saying they're totally controlled. I like to believe, because you gotta have hope, right? That some of these guys, it's like a compromise, all right? I'll play along, I'll play the game, but I'll do this, but you give me that. And I like to believe, even though it might be naive of me to think, that Elon is still on the side of humanity and he'll do right by us. Because if not him, then yeah, we're screwed as a whole. But do you guys understand? It's very hard to make that leap because it just unravels your whole belief system. Like, what do you mean my vote doesn't matter? What do you mean that they're always lying to us? Or I saw this on the news. What do you mean? It's like they're only stating the facts, right? No, it's not like that. It really isn't. History is written by the victors. Even if you go throughout, let's go even further back. Good example, because I'm biased, but I'll give a good example of not a lot of non-Asians are aware of the Japanese and their war crimes during World War II. They were the equivalent of Germany in Europe. They were sometimes worse. They killed so many people in Asia that it will blow your mind. So many Chinese died. That's why the Chinese hate them, the Vietnamese hate them, the Koreans especially hate them. Korea has been invaded and conquered by Japan several times throughout history. And they tried to wipe Korea off the map. They made it illegal to speak Korean. They tortured Korean. They used the women as comfort women, as sex slaves for the Japanese soldiers. And I won't go into it because this is not a history channel, but you ask any Japanese person about that stuff, they'll be like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Get out of my face. You're a loony bin. Because the Japanese, they don't put it in their history books. They don't put it in the media. They don't put it on their TV shows. They don't put it anywhere. So unless you're a very old Japanese person that lived through that period, the average Japanese person has no idea of the atrocities they committed. So take all the examples that I've just laid out for you. If these people don't believe, which is historical fact, and it was not too long ago, why is it so far-fetched to believe some of these conspiracy theories out there? The election was rigged. COVID was a scam. COVID was just a big money laundering scheme, for lack of better words, and they needed to pump. The insiders knew that. Just look at, for COVID, I won't, because I get it, it was real, people died, but all you have to look at is who benefited. Who benefited from COVID? Look at Moderna. Go back to your charts if you're a stock at. Look at Moderna stock and Pfizer stock, stay-at-home stocks. You bet your ass that the people on the insiders, the ones that really were in the know, they loaded the fuck up. And they probably shorted that drop when the whole market crashed, and they loaded up when they knew that the Fed was just gonna do unlimited money printing. Just always look at the money. Who benefited? Look at the money, and then you can figure it out. So any viewers that manage to stay with me, and just, that is where my whole foundation comes from. Once you see it, unfortunately, you can't unsee it, and it becomes very demoralizing, and you go through a wave of emotions and thought process. And I'm at a point now where I accept it, and it's good to be aware of the schemes that are going on, but you can't dwell on them and focus on them, because it'll destroy your mentality, make you depressed and stuff. Just be aware of it, and maybe use it to your advantage with stocks, and just get rich. Okay? Because the only thing you can do is protect yourself, your family, control your health and your finances. So again, just be aware, but just know that some funny games are being played, and always be skeptical of a narrative that they always throw at you. Some people turned this off 10 minutes ago, but the ones that manage that you feel something, right? You feel like something's wrong with the world. You see you and the people around you, why are we just so unhappy? It's because they attack us. They attack our psyche, our mental states over and over and over. It's easier with the phones now. We always look at that shit. But our health is declining, our finances are declining, our information is bullshit, and they know this. They've perfected. It's called like a social engineering. It's a science for them. They know how to undermine us and play with our emotions to make us have bad decisions. So don't fall for it. So that's a plus side. Yeah, you realize a lot of stuff is bullshit in the world, but it's very empowering that something scary isn't as scary as it really makes out to be. But wow, I'm stuck in traffic, guys. Sorry guys, I've gotten distracted, but there's a ton of road closures. I guess they're setting up for Trump's big military parade. I was saying, I don't really like the optics of that. Pundits will say Trump is, they'll say wild things like Trump's a dictator. Well, that was our last election ever. He's gonna be president from here on out. And I never believed that shit. I still don't, but it's not good optics to have a bunch of tanks and all this military equipment going down DC. It's like right under our noses too. It reminds me of like that Star Wars scene where, what's it called, the Emperor was overlooking Empire before it was known as the Empire. But guys, I don't mean to dishearten you guys about all the stuff I said. I'm sorry if I offended people, but just humans atrocities occur every day, every year throughout all of history. And again, America, so we feel all warm and fuzzy, likes to tell us one thing, but they're doing another. And it's best, I would say, not to pay attention to a lot of it. But for me, I can't not turn it off anymore. I don't want to filter myself and be disingenuous. I've noticed in my past few videos, I try to say like, oh, I don't really believe that, but there's a lot of stuff I do believe. So I'm not going to filter myself anymore. And if it causes you to not want to listen to me anymore or unsubscribe, that's fine. But I've said from the beginning, I do want to reach, because I know there's millions and millions of people that feel the same way I do, or at least sense something that they would like someone, maybe like me, to put into words. These are the people I want to reach. If you're out there, please comment, and I would like to learn something from you guys, because again, I'm just another idiot on the internet. I don't know it all. I'm only trying to piece together what I can find to find some sort of truth, because God knows I'm not tuning in to Fox News or CNN for my information. But to the people out there that this resonated with, that were like, yes, exactly, please comment, like, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts. Or maybe you have a channel that I can tune in and learn a little bit more to enlighten myself. But okay guys, take care, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.